Good morning. I hope you all have that Angular material installed. Please raise your hand if whoever is now available. Have you installed the Angular material? Please raise your hand. No hand has been raised. Is there a point in taking class or no? Hello, is my voice audible? Hello,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
okay. Nobody is responding. Uh, Please raise your hand if you are uh, installed Angular material. Please raise your hand. Yeah, okay, one at last. I seen one hand. I can keep taking class, it doesn't matter. But if you're not installed and if you're not practicing, I leave it to you. What learning you will get from the class is purely, I leave it to you on that, because without practice, I don't think you will have any idea of what is going on. So it looks simple when I take class, because in front of you, most of the time we don't make mistakes, but it has its own complexities when it comes to the development. And the assumption that I'm having is you are all new to this development concepts and you are starting fresh. Unless otherwise you dirty your hand, it will become very difficult for uh, to remember, because our mind generally remembers things based on references. The references are established based on practice. The practice establishes the references. Because the references are established, mind is able to remember things. So it is purely a psychology. So the practice, the speed at which you practice matters a lot for your mind to make the reference. That is why copy paste, you don't remember it longer duration. The reason is the speed at which you do that reference is lost. So you again and again go and fetch that, you would try to remember it, right? Whereas anything, the alphabets that we learned, whatever we learned in our school days, especially earlier days, LKG, UKG, pre-KG, right? First standard, second standard, all this because of the amount of writing we do, repetition we do. That is why we are able to remember even today. We don't forget this, right? That is the amount of practice is expected in all this, because we are learning it in this entire learning of Node.js has got developed from 2008 or 9 period till today. All this concept you are trying to learn it in 5 months, which is not, I call it as, I'm not saying impossible, but it is huge. It is huge task. Unless otherwise you practice, it becomes difficult for you to remember things. I leave it at that. I'll proceed with the session. Today, what I'm trying is, first is we understand the basics of Angular as a whole. I'll take with one project, I will take you to the project. I'll try to explain the components in the project. Then we'll start the fresh how to do that. First is, let me just give a what this Angular is all about. Angular material is all about. What are we trying to achieve using this Angular material? Why Angular material? For that matter, why Angular material? Right? To all this, to answer all this, let me first take one application which is developed, right, and which is in available as well. I'll just take you there. One application. This is purely a chart dependency. I'll go through the code as well. I hope I'm shared the screen with you all. Right? Screen is shared. So this is assume that this is one page. I just started with test.tarot.com. I log out first. I just made the test.tarot.com. I gave into this login page. First is this page. What happens then? I'm logging in. It is taking me to some other page. I'm logging in. It is taking me to some other page. And that is, you are seeing in the top. First it was /login. Now it has become /home. This /login to /home is called routing. /login, I moved to /home. That is called routing. Right? In Angular, when you install, whether you want routing yes or no, we said yes in that initial. That routing is nothing but this transition from login, I'm moving into home. That is transition is called routing. Right? So then I'll do search here. I'll just say two-wheeler. I'll say whatever. You can see now the home is not changing. Or along with home, there is no passing of parameters. That is called query parameter. If I'm passing any data in the URL itself, it is called query parameter. If I don't pass anything in the URL, I'm just typing it here now four-wheeler. I'm typing it four-wheeler. When I type four-wheeler, I'm not moving the data, but the data is going. This is called post parameter. One concept is called post parameter, another concept is called query parameter. So these are all comes under part of the interconnectivity between your data browser to external world, how I'm connecting to the external world. So this all concept is nothing but routing. When I'm changing the data, when I'm moving from one place to another place, when I change the URL, all matters. So four-wheeler, I just now come petrol. So it is going to show some graph. So underneath now I want to say registrations. So petrol, four-wheeler, how the registrations are, which companies, which state is in the top, which company is in the top, all these details are coming here. This is a client project, of course, right? Fully chart. This entire development is for chart only. We use D3 concept for all these charts. The binding of charts is SVG concept. SVG concept, all these charts are drawn using SVG. This entire thing is developed using Angular Material PWA concept. What is the advantage of PWA? I'll just go here. I'll just change this. I'll just change it. I'll go to right click, inspect element. I'll change this to mobile view. When I change to mobile view, the charts are getting realigned. Charts are getting realigned. This realignment concept is a PWA concept, right? PWA is having its own different benefit. So when you see it in the mobile device, you can see it as an app itself. You can download this app. You can see install Tarot. This icon you will get if it is a PWA application, progressive web app application. So if I change the to iPad, if I change it to iPad Air or iPad mini, automatically the screen changes. If I go to the tablet mode, the screen changes. The layout changes. It is trying to realign the layout according to the screen, but I have not changed it in the program. This is one of the major, this is called responsive programming. This concept is called responsive programming. So automatically gets realigned, automatically system does based on your framework that you develop. The system manages the chart, right? If I want to make it more, if I want to precisely check, that is called responsive. I can increase the width, see how the dimensions are changing. When it becomes charts, 4 charts, 5 charts, right? You can see the width. I'm increasing the width. It keeps on increasing the charts. Increase further width. One more. The charts are realigned, right? If I this is one, I remove this. I'll remove this candidate. Another way of seeing things. This zoom, 90%, 80%. right? 75%, it gets loaded, right? Charts are getting realigned automatically. This is called responsiveness. This concept, if you are supporting mobile device, that is called PWA. PWA, one of the major advantages, you get this download icon. That means you can install it as if it is a look like an app in your mobile device. It doesn't open a browser. It is acting as a mobile application as such, right? Same way you can increase it also, 90%, 100%, 110%, 120%. So you can increase this also. Still, you can see that to some extent the uh, page is realigned automatically. This is called progressive web app. These are all the advantages of Angular material. Angular material, it is responsive. That means not by default, you need to of course address it in the program. We'll tell you how to address that, how to take care of that. But more or less, the Angular material components that we are talking about is all mobile compatible. Now this is you can see a bug here. When we change, there is a difference here in this area. There is a difference here. So all this comes under part of bug reporting. So when we are developing an Angular application, one, we need to understand what is routing. Page transition from one page to another page, that transition is called routing. Another is one page below the other. This I'm just changing the petrol. I'm changing something else. I just remove the petrol now. I remove the petrol. I just click on search. I'm getting a page here. This is called single pagination. I'm not changing anything. Within the same page, I'm rendering the data, new data. The new data I'm rendering on the same page without changing anything else, right? I'm not loading the entire page again. I'm just on the same page, keeping all the top, everything same, only changing the chart component. This is called rendering of data. That means I'm rendering new data into the same page, right? So that is this concept. I'm now moving to some other view settings. You can see on the top, account settings, account. This is routing. Now I'm moving from account to app settings to user roles management, from this to subscription, from this to interested sectors, from this to admin. All these are called not routing within the same single pagination. Within the same page, I'm changing the data set. So I'm changing the data set. I'm loading the data only when I click on admin, I load this data. I don't load this data upfront. I will only account details I load only if you click on that account. I don't load the data upfront. Right? This is what this entire Angular is all about. Angular material able to do all this without any thinking. You don't have to think a lot. Without any thinking, it is allowing you to do all this job in an easy way. That is why it is Angular material we are suggesting. So Angular material, the layout that you see it on the top, right? The search that you see it on this, we call it as header, because we only change the below content. We don't change the header content, right? This header, what you see it on the top, it is static across the page, right? When I mouse over, for example, I put four-wheeler or two-wheeler, it moves back to the chart page. When I mouse over, it is moving. The top portion is not moving. You notice only bottom portion is moving. You can see that the charts gets loaded. As I go down, the fresh charts are getting loaded, right? Auto scroll. This is called auto scroll. Everything is a feature in a product. Everything is a feature in a product. You can just see as I load, as I go down, I'm loading the bottom of the page. It gets loaded. You can see the cursor is moving to the top, that scroll bar, right? As I move down, it just loads the page. That is called auto scrolling. All these are components in Angular. Everything is a component. How you integrate the component? So the top one, it is called navbar component. This search, that input dimension, it is a drop down component. This is an input component. I'm typing here. It is an input component. Whereas here I can type as well as I can select. I can select Uttar Pradesh. All you. I'll get it. Right? That means it is acting as an input box. At the same time, it is acting as a drop down as well. This is called autocomplete. They use the word autocomplete here. So both input box and drop downs are integrated, right? This is checkbox. This is another component. Full screen. It is an icon based. If I go to full screen, it will take me to the full screen. If I escape, I come back from full screen, right? Notification. Our profile image. It's an image tag, right? Here, this is called menu. When I click on this drop down, I am seeing these two components here. This is called menu items. Menu is a component. Everything is a component here in the Angular. So what are all the components? Angular material components. If I put here Angular material dot Angular IO component, all this component you can take a help from here. So badge will look like this. Autocomplete will look like typing and then drop down, right? Bottom of the sheet, you just pop up from bottom sheet. Most of the mobile device has that support. Buttons, you have different concept of buttons. Toggle button, right? Left align, center align, right align. Card, this is a card. This is checkbox, right? This is partially selected. The one hyphen is a partially selected. Full selected, if I give full selected, all this, I just go back. That is checkbox. Chips, the way it looks like this, that's called chips. So in this case, if I try to go to view settings, I try to where to do that, where I get a chips, user analytics, managing charts, roles and management. Here, invitee name, send invite is different. Board, I'm sorry. Board, share board. If I share board, here it is used as I just put my name. So this is chip. You can see a block. This is what the chip is. If I give, say, uh, somebody, Sriram 1825. So this is another chip. So it goes on. So that is chip. Core, that is reusable parts used by another component. That is a core feature. That is how to develop that. I'll come to that. Date picker. All these are predefined, available for you to use. You don't have to design all this. It is all available. You can just customize little bit. You want to change the color, you can change the color, etc., etc. Dialog box, any pop-up that is coming, right? Whether you want to delete it. For example, this is a dialog. I'm just behind the scene. You can see a background, and I'm popping up with one dialog. This is a dialog box, right? That is what the dialog. Messages, any interactions that you want, confirmation message window, delete confirmation window, all these are dialog box. Divider, you are dividing from one line to another. Everything is called components. Everyone is a component. How to use this component, example of the component, HTML, how the code will look like, all the samples are given in this document. Expansion panel, collapse, expand, right? It automatically collapses and expands. Form field, how the form field will look like. Form field is nothing but, this is nothing but a form field. I'll take a form field in a different place. Sign out, go to sign up page, sign up now, free day trial, sign up. This is a form field with sign up with email. These are all called form fields. These are all called form fields. Form fields means there are multiple components inside one form. so that you can take an action on the form level. I don't have to take the action at the individual item level. I can take action on the form level. This entire thing I can validate whether this form is valid or not as a whole, not as an individual element. As a whole, I can check whether it is valid or not. All these possibilities are called form field, form components. Grid list. Grid is, that's what, how you can see the layout. When it comes to grid, it is not like a table. It is like you can row wrap, row span, column span, right? This is row span, this is column span. Here column width is more, it may be two columns spanned, or it may be one column. All these are possible, right? Icon, different icons. This is called material icon. All material icons I generally use from here. Google material icon. This is where I use all the material icons. I generally, because it is directly supported. All these icons, it has so many icons are there. I can give any color I want to all these icons. Right? This is the place where I use the icons. I just copy paste this into our chat. You can use it if you want at the later time. Right? Please note down this in the chat. Okay, so I'm just going back. So these are all the place, almost all icons, because it's a free icon one. I don't have to spend money on these icons, and it is a since it is a material icon, I can resize it to any shape without changing its original sharpness. Without changing its original sharpness, I can change it to 10 pixel also. I can make it to 64 pixel also. I can choose icon generally from here. This is directly supported by Angular. So that is icons. We call it as mat icon, material icons. Then input box, list box, how the list is to be shown, like folder list, etc. Menu, right? This is not the menu I was showing you. All these are menus. This is a menu. Theme color is a menu. This is menu. This is, of course, they have not given any. This is menu items. All these are menu. So menu, the difference is menu means if you click, it will directly take you to another place. It is, you cannot do operate anything inside this. If I click on it, it will go to the next page. It will redirect. Right? Theme also same way. I can change the theme on the fly. On the fly, I can change the theme. All these are supported in Angular material. This is SCSS concept. This is not normal CSS concept. This is SCSS concept. I am dynamically changing my CSS on the fly. Right? Purple, green, deep amber. All these are default supported by Angular. All this, I have to just use that CSS directly into my code. That's all. Automatically, it is supported. If I want to change the theme in this dynamic way, then I have to use SCSS concept. Right? That is where I can change or dynamically the theme. Okay. Then so many things are available as a components. All these components, we may or may not see each and everything, but you will notice enormous features, and all this I am not going to the third party. That is the major advantage of Angular. All these are owned by Angular himself. That means I don't have to go for the third party. This icon is nothing but Google material icon. That is why these icons, what you see here, it is identical to what you see it here. So it is the same, because these icons is integrated automatically into the system. So progress bars, you can see this kind of, there are various varieties. Once you go here, you will see a progress bar complete details. So how it is moving, etc. You can see the code here, how the codes are used. What is the copy link? Like HTML side, TS side. This is the code behind. TS is code behind. HTML is your front end layer. This is what we are going to see now. So in Angular, first is we need to understand the components. The components are nothing but button, radio button, check boxes, right? Nav bar. Inside nav bar, you can do date picker, chips, card layout. All these are components. These are all called components. For each component, examples are given. You can see so many ways you can raise a button. All these are all different names that he has given. These are all the different buttons available, right? Raised button with a shadow, plain button, no shadow, flat. Stroke button, that means background is slightly different. You can see a mouse over, automatically it changes. I don't have to separately write any code for all this. It is all predefined, available. I don't have to separate CSS or anything. I don't have to write. So by default, Angular material supports three colors. One is called primary, another is called warn, another is called accent. That's why you are seeing here primary, accent, warn. These three colors, the theme that you support, the theme that you choose, these themes has these three colors different. You can see now. Button primary, accent has changed, warn has changed, right? Gray, primary, accent, warn. For black theme, black theme behind, you can see the way the layout has got changed, automatically changes. I am not made it to black to white, he himself has made it to black to white, automatically he takes care of. Purple to green, right? Two layouts in the black theme, two layouts in the background, white background, automatically it changes. This is the power of Angular. This is what the CSS does, right? I don't have to individually code. If I do individual code, I cannot do it like this. That is the power of Angular. This is what we are going to see in our learning. How to do this, how to achieve it to more or less nearest to this. Okay. So warning. This is a warning. Accent is gendered. So three colors is giving. You can use it the way you want. You can use warn for delete functionality or anything that is you want to warn. You can give it with this primary and secondary. Accent can be treated as a secondary or the basic can be treated as a secondary. That is also your option, right? Disabled, how it will look like. Disabled means how it will look like. All these are available. These are all the different icons. These are all the attribute name that we use for that theme to automatically take over. So everything has a details also. This also I think yesterday I given this, but I just give this as again share it as part of the questionnaire so that you can refer it as you move on. Any questions as of now? So these are all first what we have Angular. First is you need to understand how the Angular is developed. For Angular, routing is nothing but moving from one page to another page. That is called routing. Angular has default components. That default material has a default component. That component is what we have seen now. So all these are components in the Angular. So there are guidelines how you choose the material. You want to deep into the SCSS development. There are a lot of data available for you to learn as well. All these are available. Icons, font, Google icon is what supported. Material icon, these are all called material icon. Material icon, the advantage is the sharpness, and as you increase the size or share thing, automatically without losing its sharpness, it will increase its size, it will decrease its size without losing its sharpness. That's the advantage of material icon. And it is easy. Lot of around 900 and odd icons are there, so more or less it is sufficient for our need. There are professional icons also available. If you have a pay, you can pay and get the icons from marketplace as well. All these are available, all these are supported. Now I am going to the code behind of I'm just going to take you through the one is already existing application. uh, Third, I will go with first is explaining our existing that we have opened yesterday, new project. I'll just go to that project. I'll open that project. Upskill is the project we opened yesterday. I don't know, EF or something, right? Yeah, DFS Dev, Full Stack Development Dev. This is the project we created yesterday. We have not changed anything. I'm just trying to explain you now what is inside the folder structure of the Angular. What is important for us. So Angular, first thing that we need to it's all pre-created. I have not done anything here, right? Certain things are to just know it. It is good. Certain things we can know as we go. For example, what is Angular JSON does? I don't want to get into that now. I just want to see this src directory is called source directory. This is where all our code lies. So this is the place where we are going to start our understanding. In this, there is called app. This inside the app, generally all our application codes, we can write it inside this app, right? Assets are basically images, icons, fonts, right? CSS, all this, anything that is global, that is used across the application, you can keep it under assets. Assets are nothing but repository, my own repository, icons, logos, right? Those are all will not change frequently. I just have to access it from this global folder. This global folder can be accessible from inside my program from any place without any problem. So that is why it is all kept under assets. So asset directory, right now he is having one JIT keep, one asset he has kept it. Environments, we'll talk about that later. Favicon is the one that comes on the top. Any browser, when you see the top icon that you see here, you see here the Thorough icon on the top. You see a materials icon here. This icon is nothing but favicon. If favicon is there in that location, it will automatically gets represented in this place. It gets represented. That is favicon. Index.html is the starting place. It is the starting for Angular material. The application always starts from here, right? Application starts from here. You can see doc type HTML, HTML language English, header, body, HTML ending the tag, HTML, app root. You can see a app root. This is called routing, right? App root is the base for him to start this entire application. This app root is what is used everywhere. Okay, so I'll come to this page, etc. I'll come as we go. So you can see a selector here, app root. This app root is the name that he has used in the HTML. That is why you are able to see the display of app root directly. That is because it is integrated here. Because it is integrated here, it is loading this page because you are saying him, please load this HTML. That HTML is here. And you say this CSS you load, that CSS here. It can be empty. It doesn't matter. So because he has put all the CSS inside the HTML itself as part of the script. So the first starting point is index.html. This is the starting point. This line item, meta name, this is very, very important from the mobile view is concerned. If you want the support to be supported, responsiveness, for responsiveness, this line number 7 is very important. Without line number 7, your responsiveness will be very poor. And this title, whatever you have given here, the title, this is the title, you see it over. When I execute this, fsdev is the one which you will see it here on the title that you are seeing it in the top. This title is coming from there. Okay, so that is how the titles are generated. So this is whatever we have learned in our basics of HTML, that doesn't change. It is same. Only the meta tag has come in. Meta tag because it is important from the responsiveness behavior. This link is for favicon. This favicon is the one which is shown here on the top. That is driven by this link rel icon type image slash x icon href favicon.ico ICO file. We call this as ICO file. And this ICO files are used as part of the browser by top of the browser by default. So he used that. So that is the starting point. From here, you tell him that please use this route, that is app route. Because you have told him to load this route, he is coming to this. He knows that this route is called here, and he executes this HTML, and he executes this CSS, and title is set here. So that is getting used on the HTML side. That is how the page is getting rendered. Okay, that is why this page you are seeing it in the when you start the application. I'll just open another node, command prompt. Node command prompt is the starting point. CD, so first is D drive. In my case, it is C drive, upskill. I go to the directory, fs dev ng serve. This is my starting of the application. First, when you want to learn, the first is what you need to do generally for learning purpose without changing anything. Just in this HTML, try to change anything here. Try to change here. Say, for example, card highlight, card small, he has given something, right? SVG, etc., etc. So SVG within this div. So you close this div, create one more div, my div, right? And a class, you don't give any class now. Just put a div. I'll put a h1 here. Instead of div, I'll just put a h down. I just put my div, save, execute. Automatically it gets executed because it is I put it as ngserve. Ngserve automatically compiles the data and make it available and refreshes the page automatically. Refreshes the page automatically. I'll just go here, localhost, right? My div. You can see the my div is coming here. So try to understand this first. Make sure that you understand this. Then we'll move on. So instead of now my div, I put it underneath that. I put it above here. What will happen? Right? So that my div, I don't know where it has gone. H1, my div is there. It is style. Style is here. Toolbar, banner, image, something. Then content role main, that is a div. So my div is nowhere here. It is not there at all. So this is not visible at all. I'll just put it inside this div. So this is toolbar. This is toolbar. Within toolbar class content, I'll put it here within this. See it's appearing here. So the one that is that I put here, where it has gone, right? Control X, I put it again here, where this has gone, where it is. Is it not there or is it behind this toolbar? So what you can do is just put here style, margin, top, say 150 pixels. Just see what happens. Right, you can see that my div on the left hand side. That means it is hidden behind that toolbar, because toolbar and this one it is reflected, because this toolbar is taken a dynamic page. So then try to understand the class of this toolbar and role. What is this role means, right? Try to understand each and every meaning of this. Then what happens? The basic understanding will be clear to you. For example, if I put this toolbar, I'll go to the class of the toolbar. That is nothing but within this style. Within this style, toolbar is there. Display is flex, right? Position is absolute. That means it is always sits on that top position. That means it is not, if I don't give this, if I just comment this toolbar, or I from here, I just put here in my, I'll just close this style. First, understand each and everything that is there, created. Toolbar, I just put one. I class name I change. I know this class name doesn't exist. Just see what happens. It is a div. Just see what happens. I just removed that class, but things are moved, gone. Havak. Angular icon is somewhere here. Welcome is somewhere here. Right? There is no, nothing is available. My div has come down a lot. Right? My div has come down a lot. Just give back toolbar. Just see the difference. Right? Welcome. There is a center aligned. Welcome properly, neatly placed. There is a Twitter icon. These icons are missing before. It was not there when I put the class changed. Right? That icons are not there at all. It is somewhere. It is somewhere hidden. I don't know where it is gone. Or maybe because of the white color, that background, it is not visible at all. It may be here somewhere, but it is not visible. It is not visible because of the white background. So when I give it here, the white background, because of this white background, it is not visible anywhere, right? So this kind of first get a grip of what they are trying to say, what they are trying to convey, right? What is this role is all about? If I don't have a role, what will happen? Role is basically an information only. It is not having much of the thing, but it has its own importance. So I just remove it. Remove it. I compile, it automatically gets compiled. I don't have to do anything. You will not see any difference here, because role is basically for the understanding purpose and system behavior. Some system behavior changes because of role, nothing else, right? So first is try to understand this page itself. Try to understand by changing the class, by changing this class, different color, go to style. So toolbar, font something, font family. This is the family he is giving, right? Sorry, toolbar. Toolbar. This is the background color. I change it to say maroon. I don't know, maroon. Yeah, maroon. Right? I change it to maroon. Like this, change it. Learn, learn. You can see that. Maroon. Right? Something like this. So align center, align item, center is there. If I just put space, you'll get all the possibilities. Center is there, start is there. Just put it in start. See what happens. You can see now. It is aligned on the top because align items. So center means that is the why it has taken center. If I give, it was centered. That welcome was centered. Right? This height is 60 pixel. So what it means? Height means if I make it 100 pixel, what will happen? Put it and see 100 pixel. But it is centered. The data is centered. But it doesn't look nice. Right? Whereas 60 pixel, it was looking nice. For this font, for this shape, right? For this icon size, 60 looks nice. Whereas 100 doesn't look nice. right? So top 10. If I give 10, what will happen? 10 pixel. If what will happen? Just check, right? 10 pixel. If you don't see a space, put 100 pixel. See what happens. Is there any change? No change, or there is a change. You can see now there is a change, right? Scroll bar has come and there is a change, right? The 10 pixel, if I give, the change, but it is very not visible to that extent. 0. So understanding each and every component, because it is already there, we don't have to relearn it, but trying to understand at least toolbar what it does. At least now you know what to do for a toolbar. If you are able to use this toolbar image, margin 16 pixel, toolbar Twitter logo, height 40 pixel, margin top bottom 0 pixel, left and right 8 pixel, toolbar YouTube logo, ID is given, ID. So within toolbar, Twitter logo, you please set with this. Within toolbar, hovering of toolbar, opacity is changing. Opacity is changing. When I mouse over, he is changing the opacity. Right? This is what your exercise is today. You need to go through this page itself and try to see various combination, try to understand more of this. Same way content, right? Display, if it is not flex, what will happen? Try to see, try to understand this, right? Whatever is there in this, try to understand, so that tomorrow we'll start with actual implementation. We'll try to create a component, that means nothing but a separate folder, and try to integrate that. We'll try to do that. That is what tomorrow we'll start with. I leave it at this point here. We are just given Angular introduction. We continued with understanding components. That is what is today we have touched upon. Thank you. Any questions, please let me know before I close the session. If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, no questions now. So I leave it at this. Practice different layouts, change it, color combinations, all that you try to understand before we touch upon tomorrow's session. Once we are into the session, we may not have a time to understand more. We'll be into problem and try to solve the problem, right? We'll be just get into our day-to-day things. But this is the time where you learn more. That is why these basics are very important for you to understand. Okay, thank you. There are a lot of different icons coming, but I don't understand some of the icons meaning. Flying, that is flying from here, because emoticons that you give. Uh, I hope if you can translate that, that is also good. Okay, I leave it at this point today. Bye for today. Tomorrow we'll meet. Thank you.